I noticed you haven't commented on my mohawk.
Oh, I actually forgot to say when you came in, you have a lovely haircut. It's really nice. It's good.
You're the first person to see it. I hadn't told anyone. Yeah, I went to get my haircut this morning. And I can't have my hair bleached right now.
Oh.
So, and I wanted to do something because in the water, in the chlorine water, it just goes green and destroys it. So I was like, okay, maybe not blonde right now.
Oh, sorry. Sorry to touch. On camera too.
So yeah, I can't have my hair bleached right now, and I just wanted to do something exciting with it.
It looks really good.
And I was like, it's either a mohawk or a mullet. So let's try the mohawk first.
Yeah, because you've had a mullet era before, so it's cool to see.
I had a bleached mullet, bro. The level of trashiness.
I loved you in your bleached mullet era.
I love it too.
I'm so glad that I was there to witness it in person. Like, it might have been the best.
Yeah.
The best one.
But anyway,
I really like it.
Let's see how it goes. Also, next month I'm going to my partner's high school reunion.
Oh shit! Okay.
And I was like, I might not want a mohawk then.
Really?
I don't know. Maybe I do.
I feel like that would do. I think that would be like a positive.
I agree.
Do a positive service to.
I agree, but I also don't think you should try it.
I guess.
Because it could backfire.
I guess. Yeah.
You go like, I'm gonna look sick, and then you leave the barber's like, fuck, what have I done?
Yeah, especially at high school reunions. Like it's gonna be full of potentially high school bullies.
Yeah.
That are potentially gonna like.
So I thought, let's try it today.
Okay, yeah, smart. Oh my god, I can't believe people still do high school reunions though. You could not pay me any amount of money to go to a high school reunion.
Really?
I do not care like how successful I am or like what I'm doing or who's going to be that. No, I'd never go.
Oh my god, bro, I wish I could.
Really?
Although I think your opinion is the more popular because for my high school, they did a high school reunion on a WhatsApp group. They were like, oh, everybody say yes. In the end, it was a lunch party with 3 people in it.
Wow, interesting.
Nobody wanted to go.
That's interesting. Yeah.
And it's just like, I feel like I've changed so much and I feel like I've really come into my own. That's why I would like to go to a high school reunion, to be like the person that you met was like some half-baked creature.
Yeah.
I'm here now.
I get that, but I think to me, I would think I would put an enormous amount of pressure to be like, I have to prove who I am now. I'd be like, I'm so different to who I was then, but I would be like, I need to show them. I need to show them. Yeah, and then I get so nervous that I just end up acting the same as I was in high school.
Lucky for me, the start and end of my character development relies on doing cartwheels.
Oh, good.
So long as I can do a cartwheel,
as long as you can do that,
I'm good.
Yeah, see, I've got many things on my list before I feel like I'm an actual human being.
Can you do a cartwheel?
I can't.
That's the only thing you need.
I can't even like click my fingers. I can't even whistle. Really, I can't do it.
Oh, wow.
I cannot do it. It's a genetic thing.
What can you do?
Literally nothing. I have zero tangible skills.
You can watch a movie.
I can watch movies. I can walk. I can watch movies. So that's kind of where I draw the line.
No, you can cook.
I can cook. Wow.
That's something.
Yeah, woman in the kitchen.
No! Magic Mike, help us.
We're changing stereotypes in 2026.
Anyway, with that said, let's get into the films for today.
Yeah, do you want to talk about your theme?
Yeah, let's get into it. I will put my timer.
Yeah, okay. Do you want to introduce the theme while you're...
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. So the film I chose this time is Film Nerds, which I feel this is a very fun pairing of words.
Great theme, yeah.
Film Nerds.
Yeah.
Film Nerds.
Yeah.
It's so fun to say. And I was inspired by us.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
No, I just like, we watch a lot of films, and I think we've spoken about how we went to film school and how a lot of people who we met at film school are not film nerds. And at first I was like, I had a problem with it, but now I'm just like, who cares? I think there's a lot of people who are really successful with jobs, especially like producing and ADing jobs, who are not film nerds at all, but they're really good at their job.
Yeah, that's
true. So I'm like, off you go. If you do have like a slightly creative bone in your body and you want to work in the film industry, maybe watch a film or two.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
Maybe suggest.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's film nerds that want to be directors. No, people that want to be directors that aren't film nerds.
I'm like, then why are you in the game?
Yeah, I hate them.
Like, if you want to direct movies but you don't want to watch them.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Literally. But when you start off at film school, at the beginning, pretty much everyone says they want to be a director.
Yeah.
And then there's like maybe 2 people that are film nerds. And it's that's like, okay.
We really should talk about this some other time, but I think it's equally bad to be like, I want to go to film school and I want to be a director, but I don't watch movies. I think that's not good. But I think another bad habit of film school goers is I want to go to film school to find out what I like. Because I'm like, you can have your mind open to things, and you should actually.
Yeah.
But I don't think film school should be a place where you go to find what you like, because in my opinion, that makes sure that your experience is incomplete. I think you need to have some idea
direction.
of what you want to get out of it,
for sure,
rather than like, oh, I just want to find what I like.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're just like throwing money to be like,
yeah, it's a place to like cultivate and nurture specific skills,
yeah.
and like you have to be proactive at film school.
Very
so you're not going to
much
get
so.
anything out of it.
So I think we've changed the topic of this,
Yeah.
this to be like film school. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So film nerds. That's
Yeah.
almost half my time.
Oh god.
So the film that I chose was Hugo, 20 something. Martin Scorsese.
Well, I remember watching this in the cinema when I was a kid, and
2011.
yeah. So kid I was 12 years old when I last saw this.
You're also from the last century?
Yeah.
Bro, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you watched it in the cinema, so did I.
Yeah.
I really liked it back then when I was a child.
I didn't remember a single thing about
You
it.
blacked out.
I kid you not. I was like, I literally completely forgot that this was even about movies.
Yeah.
In my mind, I was like, there's something to do with him living in a clock. And like, I don't know, but I didn't know anything else.
So
yeah.
and to be fair, I don't think that's entirely unreasonable, because the introduction of filmmaking into the plot of it is done in a very kind of like bizarre way.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to make sure, the topic is film nerds, so people who are nerdy about films. And I think it's interesting because we approach it in completely different ways. So Hugo is the story about a boy who lives in a train station in Paris.
Yeah.
What decade would you say it is? It is like, I would say like early 1910s. If I had to take a guess, it would be like
very
early
1910s. Yeah.
And his dad worked at a museum and found like an automaton android character, a little puppet, mechanized puppet, little ratchet so bitch.
Yeah, I hate it.
And then the dad dies, and he moves in with his uncle, who's an alcoholic, but he kind of also fucks up right away.
Yeah.
So the point is, Hugo is on his own, living in a train station, maintaining the clocks, and he has this automaton. And through kind of like adventures, I'm just gonna leave it at that. He makes a friend with Chloe Grace Moretz, who is very much finding her acting skills. Mm-hmm. And they activate the automaton, and it draws an image of Georges Méliès' Voyage to the Moon. So they research, because obviously they're kids, they have no idea what it is. Yeah. So they research into it, and like the movie almost like stops to become like a documentary about like early film.
Yeah.
Because Hugo and Chloe completely like stop becoming important characters as we learn who Georges Méliès was.
Yeah.
And what he did, and how like early filmmaking happened. Yeah. And we also get to see, like with a lot of detail, how they created special effects, like a character disappearing or a character flying or this and the other, when there was minimal editing to be done.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of like, in that regard, I think is cool. I just feel like the movie is split into two movies.
It's
like there's the Hugo adventure in Paris, which is cool in its own way, and then there's the Georges Méliès like biopic, which is also cool in its own way, but together they're just like it's not bad. I feel like I'm underselling it. It's okay, it's good, it's fun, but it's just odd.
It's the most weirdly structured film ever. Like I was just watching it and just felt so like, it's like, oh, just pick one lane. Like, what are you doing, Martin?
And it's to the point that I won't tell you kind of like what happens towards the latter end of the film. As you can imagine, Hollywood, Martin Scorsese, like, the plots kind of, like, converge towards the end. But, you know, it just kind of happens. Yeah. And I will say, the last shot is kind of cool. It's a one-shot.
Oh, yeah.
And it kind of goes around showing, like, what the characters happened after the end. It's, like, a little epilogue. And the movie is very much about, like, the purpose of people, the purpose of things.
Yeah.
As presented by this automaton, which is like, what is the purpose of this, right? And it kind of like shows every character finding their purpose, and also characters being okay with still looking for it. And I was like, that's cool. I like that, because like for a movie about kids, things for a movie about kids, for kids, things sometimes end up being like be all end all, to be like, and then you find it and you're happily ever after.
Yeah.
You're done.
Like Hugo's a child and he's having a full blown existential crisis about his purpose. He's literally like 8 years old.
Yeah. So like the fact that like with at the end with some characters are like, oh, and they found fulfillment through this, and some other characters are like, oh, they're still looking for it.
Yeah.
And they're happy. I was like,
yes,
that's nice.
The child found inner peace about his lack of finding a career. This 8-year-old.
Career stability.
Yeah.
And before I pass the torch on to you, is there anything in particular I wanted to mention? No. I'll mention it all later.
We'll get onto it.
When we talk about it. Yeah.
We'll have a lot to say about these.
Yes. I do enjoy the music though. I don't love it, but I am very nostalgic about it because I was inspired. I did find this movie when I first watched it as a child. I did find this movie quite like inspiring.
Interesting.
And I bought the book and I read it, which I think is also fun. And
cute.
Maybe the story of like the dual story works a little better in prose because the transition between them can kind of like be eased a little bit.
Yeah.
But I would always put on the soundtrack while I would write my own stories. Wow. And it's like so whimsical and like...
That's so cute.
So
I can imagine that for you.
Yeah.
It left no impression on me whatsoever as a child.
It was made... The music was made by Alexander Desplat.
Yeah.
Desplat.
Yeah.
And it's good. It's not his best, but it's good.
Yeah, he also did Shape of Water.
Really?
Yeah, he did.
Damn, this is just an episode about...
motion.
This is just a podcast about Kristen Stewart and Alexander Desplat.
Unintentionally, my dad.
Okay, cool. Shall we move on to you?
Yeah, sure.
All
Let's do it. I won't have too much to say on this one.
Timer go.
For now.
Does anyone have... No, I'm kidding.
Hey!
I actually liked it. That was just...
Yeah, okay. The film I chose is Goodbye Dragon Inn.
2001.
Yeah, directed by Simon Lang. This is in my top 4 favourite films of all time. This movie means a very, very great deal to me, and there were lots of other options I could have gone with this one that maybe would have made for a slightly, like, I don't know, but I thought...
I love that you chose this one.
Yeah, this brings a very different angle to what we're looking at in terms of film nerds, because Goodbye Dragon Inn is very much a director reckoning with the demise of cinema and, like, the death of cinema, and also about, like, I guess...
which is insane in 2001, considering where we are now.
Yeah, I know. This man was, like, really deep in his feelings about...
Also, sorry to bring it back, but Martin Scorsese talking about how Marvel is the end of films when he made Hugo.
I know.
Let's move on.
We'll more to say on that.
Go ahead.
But yeah, Goodbye Dragon Inn, it basically follows, it's like a day in the life at this cinema, and it's like a kind of cultural kind of landmark cinema, like really old. It's been open for many years, and you're not really given much context at the beginning of the film. It just kind of opens and shows different people visiting the cinema and people that work in the cinema. And Simon Lang is like a huge slow cinema guy. Like everything he does, it's very, very slow. There's a really famous quote from him when he said, if somebody's like trying to pass the time and they are smoking 7 cigarettes because they're really anxious while they're waiting for time to pass, I'm not just going to show an ashtray with 7 cigarettes, I'm going to show them smoking 7 cigarettes. And that's kind of sets the real tone of this film, because it's very much that vibe. You'll see a woman who works in the cinema like painstakingly going up and down the stairs even though she's got like a limp, you know. You'll see someone...
You see her cleaning the toilets 2 different times, and you see her go one by one. Yeah,
cleaning the toilets. All kinds of situations in the cinema. But as we get towards the end of the film, you discover that this is the cinema's like final day of opening, and on that final day there were only like a handful of people that visited, and not a single word of dialogue is spoken until like an hour into the film. And it's like this old man talking about how the cinema is haunted, and as you go on you realize that the cinema is like haunted by all the stories that have been told there and the past and everything that's being shared on the screen, but also haunted by this sense of like cinema is dying, you know?
Yeah.
And
the ghost of cinema
itself, yeah, and how cinema isn't really respected as an art form anymore. And then the film just kind of quietly ends with the cinema closing down, the doors are closing, you see all the lights go off, it's completely empty, and then the woman leaves and she walks away and it's raining, and then that's it, that's the end of Dragon Inn, which is the name of the cinema. Yeah, this film had a real impact on me after first watching it. I was going through a really rough time in terms of my relationship to the film industry, and like feeling like it, you know, just all the usual things that I'm always crying about on this
with good
platform.
With good reason.
With good reason, yeah. But it really makes you, I think it can make you have like a myriad of different reactions. One of them would be it makes you feel grateful for the ways that stories shape our lives, and like all the different people that are touched by them, and like the memories that we share and the collective memories that we share through cinema. But it's also got this like tainted sadness with it of like, oh, this is something that is dying, and it is something that is just facing with that kind of loss. And it's made by someone that's clearly a film nerd and loves the medium a lot, and this is like his homage to the place of the cinema and like the communal aspect of it, but also reckoning with its kind of lack of like different status in culture, and like the way that we don't really hold it as close to us anymore, and the way it used to, you know, it used to be so important for convening and
like a shared place. Did I understand correctly that the opening shot was like earlier in the timeline? Because the opening shot is you see, well, maybe not the opening, but like the second or the third, you see like the projectionist kind of like open the little like curtain to look into the theater, and it's packed. It is full. There's like not a spare seat. But then the rest of the movie you barely see anyone in there. So do you think I'm correct in assuming that like the first shot was like the past when everybody was going, and then
I think so,
the end.
But there's also many other aspects of the film that are quite interesting in terms of like queerness as well. There's like a lot of kind of scenes of this like guy that's kind of walking around all these like corridors and like dark hidden places in the cinema, and you realize that this is also, they show the cinema as like being a place for encouraging self-expression, but it's also showing like, oh, people that haven't felt accepted, like this is a place where they could, you know, and it's like showing this guy, and it's like very queer coded, and like, oh, this is a place where like you could like cruise and like find like, you know, people to connect with, and like, so it's got many different layers to it, and I love that. And the kind of unrequited love and like sexuality aspect also like marries together, and like it's,
there's a lot of
like,
subtext.
A lot of subtext, and like, what it's saying about our relationship with cinema and each other, blah blah blah. So that's,
I love that the movie is an hour and 20 minutes. Oh my god, it's so good, because like a lot happens and there's a lot to explore, but like this is just a PSA. If you want to win me over, your film should be less than an hour and a half. And you're already like 5 points ahead of the competition. I love a succinct movie. You know? And it's not an attention span thing. I can sit for 3 hours. But when a movie is short, it's like you know what you have to say, you say it, you leave.
I think it shows skill, you know. I think there are a lot of directors these days that think like, ooh, it's like the prestige of being like, I made a 3-hour film, but it's like, if you some
Oppenheimer
stories,
for what?
Right, like some stories they take a fat minute to share, but there are others it's like, oh, I respect you far more if you're like, I can share this.
I showed up, I farted, I left.
Exactly.
Whatever.
I know what I'm doing. I know what I need to get out. You know.
But this movie is very slow. Like the visual shots of it, and I just wondered. I have a question for you. Have you ever looked at a picture and thought that it was a movie? You look at a PNG and you're like, oh, interesting movie.
Interesting.
Nothing's moving and you're like, tell me more.
I could make that into a film. Yeah.
No, it's interesting, you know, like, I did enjoy, I'm teasing you, but I did enjoy the movie. I thought it was quite good, and some parts of it weirdly got to me emotionally. The scene of her going up and down the stairs when she's like tidying up, is when you know also that it's gonna be that was the last screening. Oh my gosh, you just it's like an amazing little window into these people's lives where you just kind of get to see them be themselves. Like, you get to see what they like, what they don't like, what they dream about, what they wish, and it's all just like presented very like, there it is, watch.
It
with
is.
little pretense. But just kind of like a complete opposite to Hugo, where every emotion is so built up in Hugo. Every moment of joy is like da da da.
Yeah.
Every moment of like anguish, every moment it's everything is so constructed. Whereas here, it's just like,
it's life.
This is a character's feelings. Look.
Yeah.
If you want to know how she feels,
sit with it.
Look.
Yeah. Watch.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I was like, wonderful, brilliant. I had never seen a film by him, and I really liked it.
He's incredible.
I watched it in the Internet Archive, as you suggested. Go watch it there. Really good quality as well. But the comments were insane, bro.
Really?
5 comments, and 3 of them were like, "This movie cured my insomnia."
Oh.
The other 2, praising, you know,
Okay.
like, but 3 people being haters. I was like, why'd you go to the Internet Archive to find out this movie to be a hater, bro?
Yeah, I bet the Letterboxd uses as well. Like, ugh, gross.
But I really liked it. Should we kind of get into the
mishmash? Let's get into the gritty.
I mean, obviously, you probably noticed this as well, but I found it very interesting that when we chose our films for Film Nerds, I chose a movie about people being nerdy about filmmaking, and you chose a movie about people being nerdy about film watching, film criticism.
Yeah.
And I was like, when I proposed the theme, I never even thought that little kind of like thing could happen.
That's interesting.
I kind of didn't even clock that Hugo was nerdy about like in that way until I watched Dragon, and I was like, holy shit! In Hugo, the wonder that they kind of like try to convey to you is like, look at the ingenuity, look at all these people, how hard they worked to bring you to these like dream worlds and to create these illusions. And isn't it fascinating, and isn't it like wonderful and unique and like worth celebrating? Whereas Goodbye Dragon Inn, they're like, look at all these people, normal people, who go to this place and have these experiences where they're transported, and what it means for them in their lives to like go away. There isn't a single comment about how any film was made. Yeah. It's not important. Yeah. It's just about the experience of watching film. I thought that was super cool, and I think it kind of like calls to us as well, our differences as like people who are interested in film, because obviously we're both filmmakers, we both want to make movies, but I feel like for example in like YouTube and essays and stuff, I think you're really good at film theory, at film like analyzing themes and story and like, you know, characters and stuff, whereas I think I'm finding now more success talking about like filmmaking, which I was like, timely. Yeah. Timely.
It is interesting. Yeah. But I think what's fascinating is like those both aspects are equally important to film. Like just in terms of like the audience is as important as the filmmaker, because sure, people can make films without the audience. Nobody's keeping them alive. And this film, both films,
which kind of happens in Hugo.
Each other. Yeah.
Both things happen in both films. How, like George Méliès is kind of like, oh my god. Again, what is this movie? Yeah. But the kind of like his kind of struggle is that his films were lost to time. Yeah. So nobody was able to watch it. So it's like it's almost as if they didn't exist.
Yeah, it's like a PSA about like film preservation. Yeah. Martin was like, "Help fund my charity."
Yeah, dude. For real, dude. For real.
Yeah.
It's commercial. Yeah. Whereas Goodbye Dragon Inn is like all these stories are lost if we don't go invest in keeping them alive. Yeah. Which invest in crypto. No?
Very much, yeah.
Invest in keeping them alive, which is like, very true. It's very true though. It's very true.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Let me see my notes.
Yeah, if you have any specific thoughts that you want to share. I do find it funny though that in trying to keep cinema alive, Martin Scorsese is constantly referring to the past and like films that are really, really old. And it's like, obviously those films are really important and so formative and like should be remembered and preserved. But it's also funny that he's trying to preserve cinema by like appealing to young people through something that's really old.
Really,
you know, it almost reminds me of that like scene in La La Land where bloody John Legend's character is like, oh, you want to keep jazz alive, but you know, you're
just playing for the oldies.
Yeah, you're playing for the oldies, and jazz is about the future, you know. And to me, that's like that's applicable to film as well, not just music. Like if you wanna, I saw that like recently someone saying like, oh, maybe the reason why audiences aren't turning up at the cinemas as much is because we're not making stuff that's good enough, you know. And while I don't think that's necessarily true, because there is lots of good stuff, there is an element of truth to it of like, how are we supposed to be redefining cinema in like a positive way and like shaping it as we grow and like the future starts to, you know, come at us, you know. It's like, maybe if we're constantly referring all these like ancient films and this like ancient form of filmmaking, like it's just going to make cinema feel less accessible and less like something that is exciting to young people. So I find it interesting that that's Martin Scorsese's philosophy, is like, oh, I'm going to make cinema and the process of filmmaking appealing to kids by talking about this like ancient guy from the 1900s. And while it's really cool, I'm also like, that's interesting. Because there's like such a dichotomy at the core of that.
And it's similarly, this like play with age is kind of done in a meta way in Dragon Inn, because the film that they keep showing over and over, well, they don't keep showing it over and over, it's one screening, but the film that we kind of drift in and out of is a film called Dragon Gate. So like, do you know this?
No, I don't know this
film. So yeah, like the imperial Chinese film is real film.
Okay.
And there's a sword duel between two guys.
Yeah.
And those same guys play the older guys in the theater.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
And that's why there's this. I think that's why there's this shot of this, like one of the two of them sitting down and just like tearing up because he sees himself when he was younger.
Wow.
When the industry was completely different as well. So it's I agree that in a way both films have like a backwards looking view of very cool, bro. A backwards looking view of film. But one of them, in a really brilliant like a kind of like a stroke of genius, brings it literally like into it to be like, this character, here you go, they're still here, and we get to see how people grow and like change with that, which is kind of like really, really cool. But yeah, continuing, like kind of looking here at my notes, and I kind of, one of the things I found funny as like a film history nerd is that when Hugo starts to kind of go into flashbacks, there's this like film shutter thing. It's so cheesy, bro.
I hate that.
But they go into like, as you said, like a little kind of like documentary, almost like a montage of film history, and it goes from like Lumiere to Dixon to Edison to Griffith. There was like a big jump there. I was like, wait a minute. We had like Experiments, and then we had like Birth of a Nation. There's a lot in the middle that you're kind of like skipped over. And you know, like it's a bit of a simplified version of film history.
But I still think the documentarian aspect, like that strand of the film, is definitely the strongest.
Oh, I agree.
I absolutely hate the automaton stuff. I hate it. Why was that automaton programmed to draw a picture of George Méliès?
Oh my god, I never questioned
that. Why?
It's
so stupid. Like, and why would his dad leave that to him to like solve this mystery of like cinema? Like his dad has nothing to do with film in any way.
No, but the dad didn't do it on purpose.
Okay, so he didn't know that.
No, the dad had no idea.
But it's still like, why is he drawing that fuck ass drawing? You know, like I hate
nasty.
it so much, and like I hate the whole like, oh, you're an orphan, you're gonna get snatched away by this evil man in the station.
By Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah, and why does Sacha Baron Cohen have like a fucking like romantic subplot with this florist? Like it's so stupid, and like his little stupid leg, and I'm just like, I really hated all of those aspects of the film, and the only time that I was invested was when you're seeing George Méliès and like his process on screen. I was like, okay, this just shows like it speaks to Martin Scorsese, you know, where like he's in his element, where he's just absolutely like really indulging in his kind
of like
his fetishes. And when he's not doing that, the film is pretty bad. Like, what is this? Like he's got some great kind of crane, like kind of one shots, and like it looks pretty good, I guess. But like the opening of the film is so bad. The way it just like it doesn't really have like an opening. It just starts in the train station, then you see Hugo like having an argument with this like old man about the book. and you're just like, that's literally the opening of the film, and you're like, oh, okay. That's kind of weird.
I did have something interesting to say. The guy who plays René Tabard, who's a film historian, who helps them connect.
Yeah, Michael Stuhlbarg.
He was on a film that we watched recently.
He was in Shape of Water.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
he plays one of
the Russian. Yeah. I was just watching. I was like, wait a minute.
He's got some crazy work under his name. Yeah.
Really cool.
Great actor. Yeah, great actor. Yeah.
But let me see. Oh, also the film is Hugo is interested in, when you were talking about like kind of like the difference or like how important it is to celebrate both like filmmakers and film watchers. I think in terms of filmmaking, there's also the importance of celebrating like film stories and the technical making of film. Because in Hugo, they only talk about the technical making of film. Yeah. That's what they celebrate. They call it like the invention of dreams, and they're like, isn't it impressive how they did all this? But they never talk about the psychological, emotional transference onto the viewer. Yeah. Whereas in Dragon Inn, it's like all over the place. I think my favorite scene in Dragon Inn was actually a scene that was edited unlike any other for the rest of the film. You see the ticket girl go behind the screen because she's looking, and it's like cut really quick. Yeah. You go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth between what she's watching and what
green lights.
And what she and her, and it's incredible, and you get to see like the impact of this on her life. Yeah. Which I think another similarity between the two movies is that both movies show like this dichotomy of the heroic unreality of film stories versus the mundane livings going on. But like, I have to agree, it is much more successful in Dragon Inn because in Hugo, the real world is presented just as fantastical.
Yeah, completely.
Like the real world is full of whimsy and like like all over, and there is no separation between church and state.
Yeah.
Whereas in Dragon Inn, like characters are reflective about the difference, right, between their personal lives, their limp, their loneliness, their inward lives, as opposed to these people on the screen who are larger than life and have these adventures and are rich and have journeys, have connections, and the difference between the two.
It really is. I think Dragon Inn really captures it. It focuses around a lot of really lonely people, and you only feel that loneliness through spending such like kind of intense, uninterrupted time with them. Seeing the kind of like mundanity of their routines and their lives. But then through those scenes that they spend and the time that they spend in the cinema, you do see how much magic and like hope is brought into their lives through the cinema. And that one scene where you see the light flickering back and forth between her eyes and the screen, you see how much is like feeding into her and how much it like gives people. And that is just the saddest aspect of the film, because like when the cinema closes, like
it's over,
like you're not allowed to indulge in your dreams anymore, and you're not allowed to live with that sense of hope and like just the possibilities of the world, because it's cut off now, and
I want to talk about the closing of the thing, because something super interesting. I want to fucking roast Hugo a bit more, but first I want to talk about something that I never saw coming on Dragon Inn, which is that the projectionist, the kind of last thing that we see him do in the cinema before leaving is that there's this like fortune telling machine at the lobby, and once they close the shutters, so like the theater is closed, he has his fortune read, which I was like, oh, interesting. It's kind of like even though it is saying like this is the end and it's closing and this almost sacred place is like gone for good, the characters live on. Right, there is continuity. So now these characters are like having to find a future.
Yeah,
completely separate.
or at least he is, because what I think is interesting about that ending is like the girl who works in the cinema who has a limp, most of her storyline, we don't really piece this together until the end. She's going up and down the stairs, and it's like a really arduous like task for her because of her leg. But we see her going up and down, and afterwards we realise that she was looking for the projectionist because she wanted to give him some food that she bought with her for him. And eventually she can't find him, but she leaves the food for him. And at the end of the film, we see him like finding the food, and he doesn't like know where she is, or he can't like find her to thank her, so he just takes it, and he never knows like the effort that went into going and giving that food to him, because she had to go all the way up the stairs to the top of the cinema where the projection room was to give that to him, and like struggle with her leg, and he just takes it. And that whole like that one act of him just taking the food, and he has no one to thank, and he's going away and he's enriched by it, it's like such a perfect metaphor for what cinema gives us, and how people don't respect that, and how audiences don't respect that. It's like, the effort of like the filmmaker to craft this film, and you get something amazing that nourishes you, but then like you just throw it away, and you don't like acknowledge that or feel any gratitude. And it's the same with him, and like the film ends with her like walking away, and it's raining and it's really dark,
and she's on her own. He's got a bike. He's got a bike. He's got a motorcycle.
He's got a bike. He's fine.
He could take her.
He's got a nice meal. He's got his fortune told, because for him, like the audience, he is going to carry on living. But for her, as the personification kind of the cinema and of film itself, her life is kind of over. Like she's dead, and she walks away into the darkness until we can't see her, and it's raining and horrible. So that ending just shows like, the difference between being a like film watcher and
symbolically.
The difference between what will happen to us after it's gone.
Now, another thing I kind of want to highlight about how the films treat films different, like in general, is how Hugo does kind of like, and this is where I personally have to side-eye Martin. Martin, my friend. No, Martin Scorsese. Hugo does very much like respect and uphold the myth of the auteur, because it goes like, George Méliès was like such a visionary, nobody could have done it like him. And even though the movie does spend a little bit of time showing other people in the process, like you see his wife, she's still like, but she was the actor, right? She was like the pretty, she was the muse, whereas George was the real genius, like you know, like the George Méliès films are George Méliès films, you know, like, oh my god, it's an auteur. Which, again, if we think about this film being like Martin Scorsese talking about what he feels movies should be like and what is important about preservation, he must see himself under that same light. Whereas in Dragon Inn, even though there's like this recurring film that we see a fair amount and we listen to a fair amount and all, we don't really know who made it. If you look it up, right? There you go, you can find it. If you're interested, it's all there. But the movie doesn't spend any time either glorifying the filmmaker in the film or glorifying themselves, like the filmmakers that made Dragon Inn themselves, right? Whereas Hugo does both of that. And I just kind of find it interesting, and it's even to the point about the actors, right? The people that we brought in, the people that that got brought back to watch their own film, basically, are the actors, but they're not even presented in a way of being like, look at these amazing, wonderful, cool, bitch-ass people.
Artists,
no. They're talking about like these people who worked really hard and now it's all gone. Oh my god.
You're right. It is very much like from Goodbye Dragon Inn, it's like, cinema is like an equalizer, and like because it's collaborative, like it belongs to everyone, you know, and it's like a shared experience. But through Martin Scorsese's eyes, it's like, I am God. You know, I made this and he made that, so therefore like they are better than everyone else, and you should fucking respect them and know their name, bitch. Because they made this film. And it like feels like, I don't know, it feels like slightly kind of like I guess like bitter in a way. It's almost like, you guys are like gonna do the same to me, like watch out, you better like remember to watch Taxi Driver when I'm gone. It kind of feels like he's like sending a PSA of like, you better not do this to me. Preserve my films,
or
show
else
the fucking print at the Prince Charles, you know, otherwise I'm gonna come back for you all. It kind of feels very much like he's preemptively tackling his own legacy, and like if
you could would you make films under a pseudonym? I think I would. I think it'd be kind of fun.
I think it'd be interesting as an experiment. Yeah, I'd like want to release one of my films under like a man's name and see how people would respond to it. I think that would be interesting. Also, that's what J.K. Rowling did. So yeah. Who cares?
Quack.
Yeah.
But I just think that'd be interesting, or like to be posted online now, because like I don't necessarily agree with the idea that film is dead. Like I just personally, I'm like, I don't think film can die.
Yeah,
I think it's changing. Yeah, and I think it's going through a rough time, bro.
Yeah,
like,
it's definitely not dead.
Watching film and making film is hard right now. I agree. Yeah. But I don't think it's like dying.
The thing is, making films are far harder, but also watching films, there have always been periods where people thought cinema was dying. Right before the 70s, right before the kind of new wave Hollywood movement, like everyone was like, cinema is dead.
Yeah.
Like Europe is far ahead of us in terms of like filmmaking, you know, abilities and like what they're producing, and like Hollywood is like basically gone and like completely busted. And then it was like a few years later that like everything changed and completely changed everything forever. So I think people have always thought that cinema is dying. I think it's more like the process of actually making films. That's kind of dying.
And what I do think is dying is, which I agree. And what I do think is also dying is the communal experience.
Yeah.
That I fully agree with. Dragon In.
Yeah.
Which again, this movie was made 25 years ago. That's a quarter of a century.
Crazy. Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
Did he see that so clearly?
He knew. He saw Netflix was coming, and
he
was
said,
like,
"No,
I've seen the plan."
But the thing is, like, for example, me and my partner, we get free tickets for whatever reason, and we like to go to the cinema together once a month for free, right?
Yeah.
And I go more, but it's that way. And he enjoyed The Mandalorian, and I know that right now there's a Mandalorian project film in cinemas, and I asked him like, hey, would you like to go? And he was like, no, not really, I'll wait for Disney Plus, which is like totally fine, but like it is kind of like removing that sense of like going with strangers, sitting with strangers and experiencing this story together at the same time. But I also don't want to be like, my partner is in the wrong here, because also watching films here is so expensive. Going to the cinema in the UK at least, or in London, is very expensive.
It's a treat, when you do go, because it is so expensive.
And I think for people like you or I, it is a treat, even when the film is not what you want it to be. Like, for example, we watched Millennium Mambo at the Prince Charles not long ago, and the tickets for that were not cheap. And neither of us particularly like loved the film, but like that's what it is, you know. Like that's fine. That's just part of like watching movies. Sometimes you're like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever. Sometimes you hate it. Sometimes you love it, and you fall in between. Like it's fine. It's whatever. But when it's so expensive and it's so like literally financially inaccessible to people have to make the choice to be like, will I invest £15 or whatever to watch this now, or will I just like watch it on my own on my second monitor?
Completely, and it's why like you can see why people would go for the safe bet. It's why they'll be like, okay, I've seen a Marvel film before and I know that I like that, so sure, I'll pay £15 to watch that. But am I going to pay £15 to watch Sorry Baby by like a first time like director who's never made anything before? Maybe not.
And maybe that's why right now kind of like first time directors, not maybe, definitely, I think that's why first time directors are having success by making genre films, because they're like, okay, I'll watch a horror, I've got no idea who made it, but the idea, the poster, the trailer, that looks kind of interesting. I'll watch that.
Horror's doing so well right now.
And I feel like romance will probably have like an uptick in a few years, because that's also like very easily exploitable as genre.
Very easy sell.
It's very easy to sell. But like, you know, making just a drama about an interesting story about interesting characters, as a first time director, like how on earth, bro? Like what the hell? So in I do think like cinema is kind of like in dire straits at the moment, but that doesn't mean that it's gonna die. I just think it's gonna change.
Exactly.
And I do kind of like that said, even though when people are like doomers, I'm like, bro, relax. I do mourn kind of like the sense of community, because I do see us going more and more towards like insular experiences with film. Yeah, but I do mourn the like communal experience, because even in myself, bro, even I have to call myself out. I noticed, like, right, I went to watch Weapons when it came out, and because I'm not as used to crowds, I was very annoyed at first when people were like gasping and like shocking. But then halfway through the movie, I was like, no, bro, that's the point. You're with them, you know, like enjoy it with them.
Yeah.
But I do feel like kind of like the general film viewing experience is and will continue to trend towards an isolationist way of consuming on your phone, on your screen, not in the cinema.
Yeah.
Which, like, it's a shame. I don't think cinemas will die for good. I just think they're going to find a home as like a specialty, novelty, expensive treat.
Yeah,
as you said,
I know.
As an experience in that way, which is a shame.
It is really sad, because like, it just used to be such. I watched a really great video essay on this by Thomas Flight, and it's like, I can't remember what it's called, but if you look up, it's called like Why Cinema like doesn't feel the same anymore, or something like that. And he's basically like breaking down like the role of the cinema in society, and like really interesting, like the way that the cinema was used to show news about the war, like during World War II, and like people would go there because they didn't have like TVs at home or screens, so like they would show like news on the cinema screens, and like
tickets were for more than one film.
Yeah,
you'd go for like an evening,
right? Exactly. So there was like less risk. It was like, and like there would be more things showing at the cinema, so like you would go there and you could be like, okay, we could watch this, just go watch this, like pick and watch this, and like tickets were cheaper, and like it was just much more like centered around the communal aspect and like the sharing of information, and like it was like one of the few avenues for like entertainment outside of the home, you know. So like it's a really interesting essay, and it just really shows like why people don't like gravitate towards it as like a second space anymore, or third space. And
but you know what I love in the theater or in the cinema? Looking at everyone else.
Yeah,
I kind of love it.
I love doing that as well,
especially when for whatever reason I'm seated towards the side. Like when we were watching Millennium Mambo, every once in a while I just like sneak a glance at everyone and just see like everyone sitting just like stone faced looking at this, and I'm like, this is kind of cool, bro.
It is.
This is sick.
I do love that.
And then some films capture that as well. I think Babylon.
I was gonna say
Babylon.
Yeah, the ending scene of Babylon, like, gets
like
me
people
every time.
sitting watching. I'm like, how wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I'm gonna miss it when it's gone.
Yeah. Don't say that.
So to end off, I want to ask you let's be positive, right? I want to ask you a question. What is a film that you're interested that's coming out soon or out right now that you're interested in watching in the cinema?
Interesting. I definitely really want to watch. I've heard great things about The Backrooms.
Oh my god, I was gonna say the same, bro. Should we go watch it together?
Yeah, 100%.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Because at time of recording, it's gonna come out in like 2 days or 3 days.
Oh, is it really that soon?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was like weeks away.
No, it's this week.
We should go see it. Maybe this weekend.
Hell yeah.
I've heard great things. I am annoyed that the director's only 19. And
but the movie's based on like creepypasta, bro. Do you want a 40-year-old to be making a film about a creepypasta?
I know, it makes sense. It makes sense.
I agree with the annoyance.
But it's like, I fucking hate watching people that are far younger than me be really successful. It's like, you don't know how hard it's gonna get. Like,
I agree, but also they might burn out. We might get another Javier Dolan.
Yeah, who knows?
Anyway.
And I will say, I have noticed like a trend where like a lot of the first time directors recently, a lot of them have been men, and a lot of them have been
of course,
white.
yeah.
You know, so it's like that's been pretty like alarming, where you're like, okay, great, like you got to make a film at 19, but also like can we have a bit of like
and it's so
a bit more
sexist.
diversity behind the camera? God,
it's so sexist to the point that like first time female directors are marketed on the basis of their gender, not on the basis of the film or the story or production. No, they're like, yo, we have a woman,
the first time
we have
female
a
director.
Yo.
No one's marketing Backrooms as like first time male director, because it's just assumed that like they will just get the opportunities to do so, you know. And I find that so frustrating. Like, okay, great for him, but also like I'm kind of like, fuck off. I want more people to be successful that aren't just like men, you know, white people. It's like, come on, we need more people. So that has been depressing me, because it just feels like all the Fast Time features I've seen recently, they've all been,
apart
from Ava Victor, but like, that was quite a unique circumstance.
Also, I just realized the past 4 films I've talked about, all directed by men.
Fuck.
Bro,
the
problem is me.
Yeah.
Next episode, I'm going to change that.
Have we even done a film directed by a woman on this podcast? Have we?
Bro, I need to cut the cameras. Nuh-uh.